Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about Nathanos Blightcaller, taking a look at his story throughout the game and some short stories. If that is something you find interesting, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Nathanos Blightcaller was once in life a ranger named Nathanos Maris. The short story Dark Mirror tells us that he was trained by the High Elves of Kel'Thalas and admitted to the Farstriders. His accomplishments were unprecedented. He was a tactical genius and responsible for Alliance victories spanning a decade of conflict. Nathanos was the first and only human ranger, and also the only human Ranger Lord, the highest rank in the Farstriders hierarchy below the rank of Ranger General, appointed to him by the Ranger General Sylvanas Windrunner herself. His inclusion in the rank of the Ranger Lords got him a lot of prejudice from his elven comrades, many of whom objected to the presence of a human in their ranks. One of the people he had the most animosity with was Sylvanas, her second-in-command, Orthamar Theron. Kael'thas Sunstrider, the Crown Prince of Kel'Thalas, also objected to his appointment, but Sylvanas insisted on it anyway. Nathanos felt unwelcome in the ancient city of the elves and tired of their politics. Instead of living there, he decided to reside in his childhood home in Lordaeron. As Ranger Lord, Nathanos owed allegiance to Silvermoon and was obligated to fight in its defense should the elves command it. Sylvanas frequently visited him at his stead, officially to hear his reports, but rumors spread throughout the Farstriders and the Elven Kingdom at large that Sylvanas had been continuing a romantic relationship with her human pupil. He worried that these rumors would negatively impact Sylvanas. She visited Nathanos at Maris' stead shortly before the onset of the Second War, speaking to him about a potential invasion of Kel'Thalas by the Old Horde, and met Nathanos' young cousin, Stefan Maris. Before leaving, Sylvanas spent the night at the stead. After the fall of Stratholme, the Scourge swept over the once great nation of Lordaeron, killing all in its path and raising the fallen as cadaverous undead. Despite his great skill, Nathanos fell at his house, murdered by the abomination Ramstein the Gorger. He rose as a mindless thrall of the Scourge, bound to the will of the Lich King, spreading the plague of undeath throughout the kingdom of his birth. Somehow, though, deep in his soul, he knew that Sylvanas would come for him. And she did. Sylvanas, who at that point had been killed and raised as a banshee by Arthas, had later been freed from Ner'zhul's control during the Plagueland Civil War, scoured Lordaeron for signs of Nathanos. When she found her old disciple, he had been reduced to a pitiful sight, a decaying slave feasting on corpses of his own making. Nathanos did not immediately recognize her, and attempted to attack her with unending rage filling the void in his soul, but was fettered by Dark Ranger arrows while Sylvanas called him to his senses. She tore him free from the Lich King's will and told her former pupil of the plight of the Forsaken. She named Nathanos her champion in their quest to avenge themselves upon Arthas. Nathanos returned to his old home, the Maris stead in the Eastern Plaguelands, with his pet Blighthounds on the Banshee Queen's orders. There he recruited Horde soldiers to fight against corrupted animals, the Scourge, and the Scarlet Crusaders of Tyr's Hand. Nathanos collected relics from the Battle of Darrowshire and kept them at his home. He appeared secretive regarding his personal details of his former life, even sending some Horde adventurers to retrieve the Kel'Thalas registry that contained his file. He made sure to inform the adventurers that the registry was not to be read. Nathanos took special pleasure in tormenting the Lodge's elven residents, his former comrades, who had scorned him even when alive. Nathanos' death did not go unnoticed, nor did the fact that a body had never been found. Master Matthias Shaw, head of the SI-7, received disturbing news of unusual Forsaken activity in the Eastern Plaguelands and sent 5 agents to investigate. Only one of them returned, babbling incoherently about Nathanos and the word Blightcaller. He died in his sleep just days after his return, and the Alliance adventurers were asked to investigate the Plaguelands. The only thing SI-7 had to go on was that Nathanos Maris may have been slain by this Blightcaller, but the truth was far less pleasant. After investigating the grounds around the Maris stead, adventurers uncovered the ugly reality. Nathanos was the Blightcaller, and now champion of the Banshee Queen. Once this was determined, King Varian Rin and Bolvar Fordragon enlisted Alliance adventurers to gather an army and destroy him, but he managed to survive this assault by faking his death. Shortly after the Cataclysm, after surviving the Alliance assassination attempt, Nathanos decided to reside in the War Quarter of the Undercity, where he trained Forsaken Rangers. Nathanos was the only person Sylvanas confided in regarding her experience atop Icecrown Citadel following the Lich King's defeat. Nathanos knew that should Sylvanas ever find herself facing that damnation again, he would gladly end his own undeath to face it at her side. Part of him hoped for it. As the Burning Legion began invading Azeroth for the 3rd time, the Dark Mirror short story tells that Sylvanas called Nathanos to partake in a ritual meant to make him stronger. He agreed to take part, even though he discovered that the ritual would involve the Valkyr sacrificing his cousin, Stefan Maris. He felt no regrets. The Valkyr proceeded to place herself between the human and the undead and began chanting guttural words in an ancient tongue. Flashes of blue and gold pulsing from her hands, Nathanos lost his senses for a time, his world exploding in fire and pain. But when the Blightcaller's wits returned, he found that he had been transformed to become stronger than before, and not to be as decayed and withered as he had been. However, upon looking into the mirror, he discovered that his new face was not entirely his own. He then noticed that the second ritual table was empty with nothing but a bit of ash and oily residue. Sylvanas directed Dark Ranger Anya to escort her champion to the armory to see him outfitted in a manner befitting his station. Along the way, Anya implied to Nathanos that Sylvanas had feelings for her champion, a notion that the Blightcaller disagreed with, as he personally felt that whatever emotion his mortal heart might have held, now it had room only for rage and contempt. When getting outfitted, a breastplate caught his eye and caused him to reflect back to the ritual, and for the briefest moment, Nathanos felt regret. During the Legion expansion, following Vol'jin's death, Nathanos and the other Dark Rangers are seen protecting Sylvanas, the new war chief of the Horde. Nathanos issued Horde summons to the Horde champion and led them to the Forsaken fleet approaching Stormheim. When the Alliance, led by Gen Greymane and Sky Admiral Rogers, took the chance to bombard the Forsaken fleet, Nathanos made his queen's safety his first priority, but was ordered to take the fleet on the offensive. He led the Forsaken forces in a counterattack against the 7th Legion and Worgen troops. The Blightcaller and his men boarded the Skyfire and caused havoc in the hull, taking it apart from within. He then battled Greymane on the ship's deck, feeling unimpressed with his opponent, but the destruction of the Skyfire cut the battle short. Nathanos then took the Horde forces on a search for Sylvanas in Stormheim. When finding her, Sylvanas ordered him not to follow her, and he obeyed, focusing his efforts on claiming the Ages of Agrimar, but ultimately left his quest to the Horde adventurers, reuniting with his master in Dreadwake's Landing. After the forces of Azeroth successfully defeated the Burning Legion, the Horde tricked the Alliance into leaving Darkshore undermanned. Nathanos rode with Saurfang to lead the charge into Ashenvale to eventually conquer it and proceed into Darkshore. And after securing that as well, Nathanos got ordered to burn down Teldrassil, and he did, watching the fires burn wide-eyed.
Burn it. Burn it!
During the battle for Lordaeron, Nathanos led the assault against Alliance forces alongside Lorthamar Theron in the backside of Lordaeron Keep as an attempt to stop them, but was defeated when Void Elven reinforcement led by Illyria Windrun came to aid King Anduin Bryn. Before retreating, Nathanos got ordered to saturate the ruins of Lordaeron with the Forsaken Blight, watching it all from a Horde Zeppelin flying away. Nathanos then proceeded to lead the Horde War campaign in the Battle for Azeroth expansion, found aboard the Banshee's Whale, instructing Horde champions on how to invade Kul Tiras. But when he discovered a black moon had appeared over Darkshore during the events of the Tides of Vengeance, Nathanos sent scouts to investigate this transformation. None of them returned, and he was convinced that the Night Elves were up to something. He ordered Horde troops to interrogate Night Elf generals and raise fallen Night Elves as Forsaken to join their ranks. After witnessing Tyrannus' transformation to the Night Warrior, Nathanos revealed that he was unsettled and remarked that they needed to accelerate their plans. When Nathanos learned of Bane Bloodhoof and Thomas Zelling's betrayal in handing Derek Proudmoore over to the Alliance, him and Sylvanas confronted the two. After they admitted to what they had done, Nathanos killed Zelling and arrested Bane.
Get moving.
I have troubling news. It seems there are traitors in our midst. Most of you need fear nothing. But Derek Proudmoore didn't flee to Kul Tiras by himself. He had help, didn't he? Zelling.
I...
Stop! I returned Derek Proudmoore to his family. You raised him as a Forsaken. But you planned to deny him his free will, to violate his mind. I could not stand by and permit such depravity to unfold.
Thank you for your honesty.
Then came the Rise of Ishara updates. Nathanos called for Sylvanas loyalists to meet with the Banshee Queen in Orgrimmar and expressed his belief that their forces shall exterminate Saurfang's revolutionaries. He journeyed to Orgrimmar himself, preparing for a battle that was coming, but instead, Sylvanas got challenged to Mak Korra by Saurfang. After she abandoned the Horde, Nathanos left Orgrimmar and the Horde to rendezvous with Sylvanas at the Windrunner Spire in the Ghostlands. The two conversed before wishing one another a safe journey as they departed, with him calling her my love. In the Shadows Rising novel, Nathanos was tasked by Sylvanas to kill the troll Loa of Death himself, Buon Samedi. To that end, him and Sira Moonwarden allied with the Widow's Bite, a group of Zandalari rebels led by a witch known as Apari. Nathanos was confident that while they focused on their mission, Sylvanas would triumph over the Horde and Alliance agents that came upon her. In order to weaken the defenses around Buon Samedi's shrines, Nathanos was forced to hand over something precious and irreplaceable to Apari. Thus, after a moment, he handed her his officer's badge, appointed to him by Sylvanas herself, and warned Apari that if she failed to destroy the Loa shrines, the consequences would be severe. After dealing with the holdout of Buon Samedi worshippers, he was faced with the ghost of Stefan Maris, which Nathanos saw as his one true regret. Despite declaring the ghost was not real, Nathanos found himself justifying the ritual performed that sacrifices one's cousin. After a little while, Nathanos realized that the spectre wasn't actually his cousin, but a projection made by Buon Samedi to mock him. When Nathanos and his troop got ambushed by Horde forces, leaving everyone around him to die or be captured, he was forced to retreat the battlefield, failing at his task of killing the Loa using the same magic Sylvanas used to kill Varrock Sourfang. He reported to Sylvanas, who had just defeated Bolvar and shattered the Helm of Domination, how Buon Samedi still lived. Sira Moonwarden had been captured, and how the Horde came in full force, and her champion believed that Buon Samedi would only grow more defiant. Sylvanas was confident, however, that they would overcome this setback. In response, Nathanos returned to his home at Maris Stead to await further orders. It was there where an Argent Crusade patrol spotted him at his stead. They alerted the Horde and Alliance. Gen Greymane and Lorthamar Theron sent champions to deal with him, and at long last he met his end at his own home, with Tyrande Whisperwind dealing the final blow for Teldrassil.
Where is she?
Go on. Kill me. You'll send me right to my lady. Beyond the veil, she's shattered. Oh, Tyrande. High Priestess. Night Warrior. Completely powerless to stop the count.
Now the question remains, is this the last we'll see of Nathanos Blightcaller? Probably not, as he said in the cinematic, killing him would send him straight to his lady, so I personally expect that we will see more of him in Shadowlands. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. This was the first time I did like a full lore breakdown on a specific character. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and let me know what you want to see in a video next. See you in the next one. Goodbye.